Hi Stampers, welcome to Great Inspirations. My name is Kim Tolbert and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located in southeastern Indiana. And today I do have some cards that we will look at, and these cards were each created using products from a suite of products in the Stampin' Up! January through April mini catalog. And I just happen to have that catalog right here. And on pages 40 through 43, you can see all the elements of the suite. Here are some sample cards, of course. And then over here are all the products included in the suite. This is a larger suite. It has 2 stamp sets along with their coordinating die sets. So 2 what we call bundles. It has some faux leather trim in gold. It has these really pretty designer series papers. They are specialty papers, meaning there is gold foil incorporated on a design on one side, and then the other side it's just the regular paper. And there are also these little cork rounds, which I did not order those. I did get both bundles, the faux leather trim and the designer series paper, and I will show you those. Let me put this away. We'll start with the designer series papers, and we're going to start with this one. I've cut the papers down to 6 by 6, but this one would be a little difficult to actually show you what it's like if I cut it down to 6 by 6. There are 3 main images on this paper. This is an almond branch with some almonds and the little blooms. This is a cacao plant, or from the cacao tree. That's where we get cocoa. And then here is vanilla beans. And these images are also in one of the stamp sets, in the Lovely and Sweet stamp set. So these are made so that you can cut them, if you care to, at 4 and 8, and then cut across the center of each strip. You could do that at 6, and then this is what you would get, like this, and you would have 6 of them. And then I used one to make this card, and I just trimmed the 6 inches down to 5 1/4. I just cut off 3/8 inch from the top and the bottom. So that's one of the designs on the designer series paper. And on the back is this design with the gold. It's sort of a distressed grid. And now we can look at the rest. This is like sort of like a ledger page, and it is in pecan pie. Actually, the colors of this designer series paper is pecan pie, pebbled path, and gold, along with the white. And this is the pebbled path with some gold text. More of the pebble path. Now these, you can use the dies that come with the bundle to cut out some of these images on this particular piece of paper. And more of the same images. They're a little smaller. This is a floral on the gold. And more of our same images of the vanilla bean, the cacao, and the almond. And this is like newsprint with gold spatters. This is more text, and if you look at it, the pecan pie, it's like, when I look at it this way and I see the text in pecan pie, it's correct, but the pebble path is upside down. You turn it so that you can read the pebble path, and the pecan pie is upside down. So that's kind of nice, because that means it doesn't matter how you orient it. It'll be okay. And then here is the gold pattern on it. So that's the Designer Series paper. And then we'll take a look. Here is that faux leather trim. And it does have some little gold flecks in it. I don't know if you can really see that. This reminds me of shoestrings, like for work boots. That's what it reminds me of. But it certainly does have the gold. And I did use some of it on one of these cards. So let's just take a little closer look here. Let me get there's the Lovely and Sweet is one of the stamp sets. And then the other one is Notes of Nature. And as you can see, they're very different, but they work quite well together because, of course, they're part of a suite, so they're made to work together. And each one does have a few sentiments. You know, sometimes when they have two stamp sets in a suite, one will have the images and the other will have the sentiments. But this one, there's congratulations, so sorry, and just sending a bit of love your way. And then this one, today is all about you, happy birthday. Just a little note to say hello, and thanks for making me smile. Now, these three main images are really nice, and they are much larger than they are on the cover. And there is this little textured stamp here, and then this little stamp that says Field, Lawn, and Garden, which makes a good thing for a background or for a collage. And to me, most of these stamps, they're very good for a collage. Now let me show you. I have stamped them out, so maybe you can see them just a little better. There's the Lovely and Sweet. And then here are the Notes of Nature, just to give you a better look. And this is how large the images are. This one is a nice big image, takes up a good portion of the front of a card. This one is if you want to make, need a smaller image. I really like it. Now, like I said, here are some leaves and a little blossom right there. Just some really nice additions if you enjoy making cards that reflect nature and collage cards. Now I also will show you the dies for the Lovely and Sweet. We have this set right here. There they are. A nice set of dies. This little die right here cuts a tab. And here's the tab, like you would have for a folder. This one, it almost looks like a ticket, but it also can be used as, for a sentiment, to put a sentiment on there. And there are just some little florals that you can cut out, some leaves, and some little, looks like stems that you could put these flowers on. So those are the Lovely and Sweet. And I did cut them out right here. This is what I was talking about, all those little floral images. They cut out this one die, this is one die, one die, one die. So there are a total of 13 dies. So there are those. And then the dies that go along with the Notes of Nature. There are dies to cut out this image, the leaves, and this image. And then there are some extra dies. There are some leaves, and I like this vine. I was going to make a card using it, and I forgot, so I will have to do that at a later date. And then there's this, which it doesn't cut on the edges, it just cuts the holes, and then it leaves a little stitching down the center. And I will show you. Here they are. Here it is right here. So I've put this die at the edge. Let me grab it. I just put it at the edge of my paper and ran it through the die cut machine. And as you can see, it cut the holes and it left the little stitching. So you can make this side as wide as you like or as narrow as you like. And then, as I said, here is this nice vine, the 3 dies that cut out these 3 images, and then the extra leaves. So all kinds of options for making cards with this suite of products. Now let me walk you through some of the cards that I made. This is, I would say, by far the easiest, because all I did was cut out that image from the designer series paper. Then I used a die for my greeting, and I matted it. I put a few gems, and then on the inside I just took a piece of cardstock and stamped this image in the pebbled path. So that was a super easy card. Now for these cards, all of the supply list and measurements and those kind of things, you'll be able to find that on my corresponding blog post for this video. And you can find the link to that blog post in the description of this video. And if you just look down below the video, there will be some text that kind of describes the video, and then the word more. Well, if you hit the word more, that's where you will find the link. That's where the description is, and that's where you'll find the link. Now for the next card, this was a bookbinder card, and I used the vanilla bean. I used the leaves from, here, let me get these out. It's vanilla bean, and then these leaves. That's what I used for this card. And if you look real close, you'll see there's a background, and that's this one right here. Sort of looks like, well, maybe some gauze. So that's how I made this one, and we will walk through, for those of you who don't remember how to make a binder card, we'll walk through that in a little bit. And inside I just put a piece of designer series paper, a piece of cardstock, and again I used this stamp and just stamped very lightly the design, and then I put another one of the die cut leaves, 2 here and 1 here, and then I just used some of the brush brass butterflies from the annual catalog just to give it a little something extra, and then we have a bow tied here with the linen thread. So this card, I used this image, and I just really like the size of that image. I just think it's really pretty. I like the space it takes up on the front of the card. So all I really needed was the greeting. So I've used that designer series paper I showed you. That's the pebbled path with the text in gold. And then behind that, I put the distressed gold specialty paper, and that can be found in the annual catalog. Just put my greeting. Today is all about you. Happy birthday. And again, that's from the Notes of Nature. And I just matted it on a piece of that distressed gold paper, and again added some of those brushed brass butterflies. And then inside, I think I just have a piece of plain cardstock in there. Now this one was something I worked on for a while. It did take a while to do this, but I did enjoy doing it. And it took me back to, oh my gosh, probably 20 years ago when I was distressing everything. But when I saw this stamp set, and I saw this one, the Notes of Nature, and the field notes, and just the distressed look of it, I thought, oh, I want to make like a distressed notebook. So, especially with the tab. So that's what I did. And I will show you how I did this. But here's some of that faux leather trim, and here's that cacao. I guess it's not a plant, it's called a stem. And again, I made it into a birthday card. So let's go. Let's put these two are fairly self-explanatory. They're just straight up cards like we do every day. We just have our image and a greeting and a couple layers. So we'll just put those away, but we will walk through how to do a bookbinder card. And this one, I can't remember the last time I did one, what measurement I used. I may have just made this part 1 inch wide, but for this case I made it 1 1/4 inches because I wanted this to be a 4 1/4 square, so I could put a 4 by 4 square in here. So all you need is a piece of cardstock that is 11 inches long and 4 1/4 inches tall. You're going to score it at 4 1/4 and 5 1/2, and then just fold it in half like we always do at 5 1/2. Then we're going to bend back at 4 1/4, and that's what creates the card base for the bookbinder card. And then you can see I put some twine or some linen thread in here. You can put linen thread, twine, ribbon, whatever you want. But first, what I did, I stamped my background on there, and then I put my greeting, and then I open this up and I put my ribbon in here. So we're going to use a little wider ribbon. I think it'll be easier for you to see than the twine, and easier for me actually to work with. Okay, so we've got that in there. Now we're going to tie it. Okay, need to work with that a little bit. And then once you get it where you like it, if you like, you can put a glue dot right under there. So we'll get the glue dots. Here we go. And that will just help to hold it in place. I'm going to slip it right under there, push down. And now I can trim off the excess. And then, so once you get that done, then you're going to adhere this part down. And you're going to put the adhesive on the inside of the card between the score line for the 4 1/4 and the 5 1/2. So make sure your ribbon is straight and where you want it, because mine is not. There we go. Then we'll get some adhesive. I'm just going to put it right along here. And then I'm just going to put some right along here, and it's okay if it's on the ribbon. There we go. Fold it. And there you go. There's your card. And now you're ready to put your 4 by 4 square in here, and then you can finish any decorating that you haven't done on the outside, and you're good to go. So that's the bookbinder card. And now for this one, my distressed card. Got a lot of pieces here. So, first thing I did was I decided to make this 5 1/4 by 3 3/4, or 5 by 3 3/4. And I decided I wanted this turned down, and I wanted it to look like there was a page in there. So what I did is I cut this piece of cardstock, and it's very vanilla, and it's, I think it's like 1 1/2 by 1 3/4 or something like that. And the whole intent was to you just slip it down. See, I have this one almost finished here. You just kind of slip it down behind there and adhere it. So it's like the corner of the notebook is turned down, but you can still see the page. So anyway, how did I go from this to this? Well, what I did was first I cut my cardstock and then I rounded my corners. And I just noticed on this one I did not round this corner, and you don't have to. That was just something I decided I wanted to do. And then I just took it, and I need to put all these pieces over here, and I just wadded it up. You guys remember doing this at any point in time when you were crafting some years back? I just wadded it all up, opened it up, and wadded it up again. And then get a craft sheet here. Might get 2 of them even, so I won't get water everywhere. So what I did after that was I took one of my Stampin' Spritzers and I put water in it, and I just wet this. You don't have to get it soaking wet, but you know, get it damp, and then you can fold it up even, or wad it up even better, and roll it in your hands and open it up again. And if you're happy with all the crinkles and wrinkles, just leave it. And you can leave this to air dry, or you can dry it with your heat tool. Hold it up a little bit above it. And what I did, I just went in circles and counted to 10, moved to a new section. That just worked for me. But then anyway, once this is dry, like the one we have here, I used this die to cut the holes. And you can see, well, what I did was I lined up 3. See, because this paper is shorter than this. And when you put it on here like this, you're going to get, I don't know if you can see, but when you move it around, you're either going to get one of these cut way down here, too close to the bottom, or halfway cut. So what I did, I made sure that I could get 3 and 3, and I ran it through the die cut machine. Then I lined this up with the top one, and now on this one I did it perfectly. On this one I didn't, and you can see it's a little more oblong than round, but that's okay because we're going to put that trim through there. So line it up like that, run it through, and it will cut this hole. And then you do the very same thing down here. Line it up, run it through, and it will cut this hole. So you'll have these 8 holes. The other thing that I did, but you want to wait until you get these die cut, is I turned down this edge. I wet it and I turned it down and I hit it with the heat tool, and it will stay like that permanently now. So then the next thing, I went over this with a blending brush and some ink, and this is Early Espresso, and I just went real light. You can use a sponge dauber, you can use a sponge, you can use whatever you like to do to apply color, and I just got a little. Then I went and inked up this stamp again, and I would ink it, stamp off, and then stamp. Ink, stamp off, and stamp. And I just went all around just to give it some texture. Now the next thing we are going to do is I'm going to take this stamp that I liked with the field notes, and we're going to ink it up really well. And we're going to, field notes is going to go along, right along these holes we've die cut out. Just going to press down. So there that is. And then the next thing I did was I took this stamp, the little dots, and that's in the Notes of Nature right there. And I inked it up, stamp off, stamp, stamp off, stamp, stamp off, stamp some more, ink, stamp off, stamp. And just, keep going till you're happy with how it looks. And you don't really need a whole lot, just a few. And you may think, well, does it really need that? Well, maybe not, but when you start looking at the card, pretty soon all these elements start popping out, and it just really adds a lot to it. So then the next thing that we're going to do, get all my parts and pieces here, is we will add this. And all I did was just put some adhesive along here and here, not to the edge, and then I slipped it under here and got it to where I liked it, put it down just a little bit from the top of the notebook and over this way just a little bit from the side and push down. And now I have the tabs, and these tabs are die cut from Crushed Curry. Then I went over them with a little bit of ink on this brush. And these little, this text here is from, I'll show you, right here, and right here, and then here. When you die cut out these images, this little bit of text that tells you what the item is, it does not cut out. It does not die cut out. So all I did, I just took my scissors and trimmed that off and put it on here, on the tab. And I think I'll just use some glue dots to put these on. And you need to put it, put them near the front side, near the bottom. And then you can just kind of figure out, which I think I've got my little text a little bit too low, but that's okay. Just put it right like that. And then we'll do the next one. I kind of put it a little bit under this one, almost overlapping, but I guess you would call it underlapping. So there that is. And then we'll do this. I'm going to use some dimensionals. This is our focal image that I've colored and die cut. We'll put a few dimensionals on here. And then we'll get that up here. There we go. Then we have our greeting. Today is all about you. Happy birthday. And it's on Very Vanilla. And I did go over it with the blending brush. And I used that little dots on that stamp, from that stamp. And, dimensionals on this. Okay, we are getting there. So there we go. And now we need that trim. And what I did, just kind of threaded it through. Like I say, the amount that I use will be in that blog post. this. And then we're going to just pull this all the way up as far as we can, almost. And then I'm going to find the glue dots again. You see my take your pick tool. And I'm going to put a glue dot right here and sort of fold it over. And lay that right down there and push. And then we're going to trim that end off. And then we're going to do the exact same thing up here. Take the glue dot. Push that down. Trim. Now we're going to use this and we're just going to tie a knot. Just like that. And then we're going to take a glue dot and put it on the back of that knot. And we're going to, as you can see, I put this one here. You can put it wherever you want. I thought this might also be a good place to put it, and just push down and trim this just a little. And there, we're ready now to put this on our card base. So we're going to use some dimensionals. And I'm going to make sure that these tabs stay on and that our little page stays put. Just put a few here and there. There we go. And then now this we're not going to center. We're going to put it over almost clear to the edge of the cardstock. You can center top and bottom, but not left and right. And there's our card front, our little distressed notebook. And then I have this panel that we can put inside. And there we go. That wasn't too hard, was it? So there's our distressed notebook card. And here is our bookbinder card. Oh my goodness. And here's the card that was made with just the Designer Series paper panel. And then this one that was made with the Designer Series paper and one of the images from the stamp sets. Now again, this is the Nature's Sweetness Suite that includes the Lovely and Sweet stamp set and the Notes of Nature, and then the Notes of Nature dies and the Lovely and Sweet dies, along with the Designer Series paper and that trim, and of course those cork rounds that you can order. Now when you order a suite, the advantage to that is you can get all the products in that suite with just one item number. You just have to put in one item number. When you order a suite, whether it has one bundle or two bundles, each bundle is still discounted 10%. Because say you didn't want to buy the suite and you just wanted, say, the Notes of Nature bundle, the stamp set and the dies, you would get 10% off purchasing them together. So when they're in the suite, you still get that same 10%, and you will get 10% off of the Notes of Nature bundle and the Lovely and Sweet bundle. Well, I'm really thankful you joined me today, and I hope you've enjoyed seeing these cards. And if you have, I would appreciate a thumbs up. And again, all of the cutting measurements and the supply list and a few directions and that kind of thing will all be found on that corresponding blog post that is in the description of this video. So until next time, stamp happy!